First of all, I'll try to keep this guide simple and straightforward, so that new players catch something up as well. But it will be amazing for veterans also. I made the first Arms Warrior PvE guide on Turtle WoW, which is very old. You can check it on the top right corner if you want to. However, it was before CC2. Many changes happened meanwhile, and here I am, trying to update it. I will explain talents and rotation of Arms PvE Warrior, what kind of weapons you should use, and so on and so on. So stick to the end of this video. By the way guys, I don't ask people to subscribe, comment and like in every video I make, like other YouTubers, but I'd really appreciate that. It's up to you really. Also, I'd like to mention that the talents you're about to see are the best talents when it comes to Arms PvE Warrior for now. I said for now. I don't know how long that might last. I am not a Turtle WoW developer. They can nerf or buff something. These talents can stay the best for a half a year, for a year, or even more. But they can get changed tomorrow or in a week. What I'm trying to tell you over here is that I don't have any influence on this matter whatsoever, if that makes any sense. That being said, let's move straight to the talent points. I'll explain why is it useful and we will cover rotation as well. Before we start, I'd like to point out that I have a full warrior playlist on my YouTube channel. I'll leave the link at the top right corner right now, and I'll leave the link at the end of this video, so feel free to browse around. You can find pretty much everything related to warriors, what add-ons I'm using, complete guide when it comes to my UI, and much more. Please browse that playlist so that I don't get same questions in the game every day. But before we start with talents, why Arms Warriors? Why not Fury or some entirely different class? Well, you see, Arms Warriors do the most damage when it comes to AOE, aka Area of Effect, throughout the whole game, due to sweeping strikes, whirlwind and cleave, thanks to big two-handed weapons. Arms Warriors can perform well even in bad gear if played correctly. Arms Warriors have some of the biggest single damage numbers in the game with precision cut execute both on trash and bosses. Arms Warrior have no cooldowns apart from recklessness or your trinkets, potions, consumables, you know what I mean. And Arms Warrior have to stance dance sometimes for sweeping strikes, slash overpower or whirlwind, but that's not an issue thanks to tactical mastery. Alright, that being said, let's move on to talent points. By the way, I forgot to mention one more thing. I'll make timestamps for you guys over here, so just jump from part to part you are interested in the most. And I will also cover stats in this video. Okay, let's move to talent points. So when it comes to talent points, it's pretty straightforward. Let's go 5 out of 5 in tactical mastery. This is stance dancing. I'm pretty sure that I said this at least 10 times in my previous videos. Let me give you an example of stance dance and tactical mastery. How does it work? Okay, so let's pretend that we are in Berserker stance. As you know, overpower cannot be executed in Berserker stance. So, if you are in Berserker stance and your target dodge your attack, you will immediately press that macro, which will lead you into battle stance, and you will execute overpower. Simple as that, really. Just simple stance dancing. And 25 rage points is a lot. Tactical mastery is a really nice talent. Then we have a improved rend. Increases the bleed damage done by your rend ability by 20%. Rend can be part of your rotation as well. I mean, just think about it. If you don't have anything else to use, just rend the target. Then over here, we are going to put 2 out of 2 in improved charge. Increases the amount of rage generated by your charge ability by 10, which is amazing. You have blood rage, right? So, for example, you are charging into trash pack or boss, it doesn't matter. So, never charge before your tanks, right? Just give them 2 or 3 seconds, let them establish some threat, and then charge. With improved charge, you are getting 10 additional rage. Plus blood rage that you will pop immediately after charge leads you immediately to sweeping strikes. And then you can start your rotation. Whirlwind, cleave, mortal strike, and all that kind of things. But we will talk about that later on. Now, over here, we need one more point to get into deep bounce and improve our power. Now, here we have improved heroic strike. I will totally take this point if it was 3 out of 3, like this. Unfortunately, we cannot do that. And putting 1 out of 3 in improved heroic strike doesn't work. Because heroic strike is partly, but just partly, part of your rotation. And 1 rage point, instead of, let's say, 10 rage, your heroic strike will cost you 9 rage. I mean, that's useless. Deflection is useless as well. But at least it has some chance to protect you when it comes to trash packs, if that makes any sense. I mean, increases your parry to chance by increases your parry to chance. Sorry, increases your parry chance by 1%. That's ridiculous also, but it can save you. Right. Now, we have deep wounds over here. Your critical strike caused the opponent to bleed, dealing 60% of your melee's weapon's average damage over 6 seconds. Big, big, big. There is one thing that I would like to mention when it comes to deep wounds. The more your two-handed weapon hits, the bigger are ticks when it comes to deep wounds. Let's say, for example, Might of Manethil and all those big weapons, Severance, for example, an axe from Patchwork, then we have a Claymore of Unholy Might, but we'll talk about weapons later. Let's focus on talent points now. So, like I said, the bigger hits, the bigger are ticks. Now over here we have improved overpower. Increases the critical strike chance of your overpower ability by 50%, which is huge, huge, huge. Okay, so let's go back on tactical mastery. If you are in berserker stance and your target dodge your attack, you will immediately go to battle stance. Thanks to tactical mastery, you will have enough rage to execute overpower on trash pack, on boss, on whatever. You get the idea. Over here, counter attack. Nothing, it's just not worth it. Next, we have impale. 2 out of 2, which increases the critical strike damage bonus of your abilities in battle, defensive, and berserker stances by 20%. Huge, huge, huge. Next we have two-handed weapon spec. Increases the damage you deal with two-handed melee weapons by 6% and increases your skill in two-handed weapons by 3. That's huge. That's huge. 6% damage and weapon skill increased by 3 is a must. Which means if you completed Ancient Warfare text, which is very cheap on auction house nowadays, maybe 1 or 2 gold or something like that. Yes, you need 250 gold for quest and so on and so on. You will be already on 308. There are some weapons like Claymore of Unholy Might and so on that gives you skill increase. You know what I mean? That's a thing on Turtle WoW. So yeah, you get the idea. Next over here we have Sweeping Strikes. Your next 5 abilities and the main hand melee attacks strike an additional nearby opponent. Now, when it comes to Sweeping Strikes, I like to call this talent the heart of Arms Warrior. It doesn't matter PvP or PvE wise. It's just a must. Every single time you charge and blood rage into a trash pack, Sweeping Strikes have to be on. Because, like we mentioned, Arms PvE warriors are one of the biggest classes and build that are doing that AOE area of effect. Combine this with Whirlwind, Cleave, Mortal Strike, and you got it. Enough of that. Now, Master of Arms. Axes, maces, swords, and polearms. Let's conclude it with polearms at the beginning. When it comes to polearms, increases the range of melee attacks by 2 yards. Listen guys, if you want to PvP, polearm is your choice. Because, especially if you're a Tauren, you have an additional 2 yards, if you didn't know. So that makes it 4 in total. But when it comes to PvE, it's not really worth it. When it comes to PvP, when you have to chase all those annoying mages, warlocks, hunters, ranged classes, you know what I mean. Polearm might be your choice, but when it comes to PvE, you will go with either axes, maces, or swords. In my humble opinion, axes are the best, especially if you have what was the name of that T-Toon axe? Hold on a moment, let me remind myself. Dark Edge of Insanity. Dark Edge of Insanity is the best axe in the game up until Karazhan 40. PvP, PvE wise. So axe spec and cruelty stacks perfectly with each other. Plus critical strike that you will get from agility and items that you're wearing. Right. When it comes to maces, it's also good. Causes your attacks to ignore. This is something like Wrath of the Lich King's armor penetration, but not really. You see, when it comes to Wrath of the Lich King armor penetration, it had a chance to penetrate armor. It wasn't 100% sure. Now on Turtle WoW it works different. So if you get your hands on Might of Menethil or something similar to that, by all means go with maces. And then we have swords, which gives you a 5% chance to get an extra attack on the same target after hitting your target. Now this is decent, especially because we have swords like I don't know, Corrupted Ashbringer. Then we have Bone River's Edge. Bone River's Edge is one of the best swords in the game, and the best thing about Bone River's Edge is that it drops from Ragnarok. It's just molten core, and even best part of this is that molten core scales to 20 men, you know. So by all means, if you have Bone River's Edge, just go for that, because if I'm not mistaken, chance on hit when it comes to bone. Hold on a moment. Bone River's Edge Turtle. Wow, alright, let's check it out. Chance on hit. Your attacks ignore 700 of your enemy's armor for 10 seconds. This effect stacks up to 3 times. 3 times 700 equals to 2100 armor. Boom, right there. And there is one thing that I would like to add to. You see Hand of Justice. I'm seeing Hand of Justice from BRD on Paladins. I'm seeing them on Hunters. I'm seeing them on Warriors. Hand of Justice doesn't work if you have Wind Fury on. And most of the time you will have Wind Fury on. It just doesn't stack on Turtle WoW like on Classic WoW or other private servers. So just don't even bother getting Hand of Justice. You have an empty trinket slot over there, if that makes any sense. Now, maybe they will fix it in future, but oh well. Now, over here, we have, I'll talk about weapons later. Now, over here we have Precision Cut, which is amazing talent, because it perfectly stacks with Execute. Okay, so increases the damage done per extra rage spent on Execute by 60%. Do you realize how powerful that is? And causes Execute to refund 30% of the rage spent upon it. Upon hit. That's just amazing. That's just amazing. And then we have Improved Slam over here. Reduces the cast time and global cooldown of Slam ability by 0.5 seconds. Now, when it comes to Slam, it's not that bad. It's not that good either. You see, Slam, when it comes to Slam, the best thing about Slam is that you can move while casting it. You don't have to be in one single place casting Slam. You know what I mean? That's the only reason I would use Slam in when it comes to Arms PvE Warriors. And you can call Slam a cooldown filler. For example, if your Mortal Strike is on cooldown, you will use Slam. And so on and so on. You know what I mean. And then we have 2 points into Boundless Anger, which increases your maximum rage by 20. What does it mean in the first place? Well, you will have a maximum rage pool of 120 instead of 100 with Boundless Anger, which means bigger executes. And then we have Mortal Strike. You all know what Mortal Strike is. I don't have to explain you this kind of thing is, yeah. So, that will be pretty much it when it comes to Arms 3. Now let's move Cruelty. You all know what Cruelty is. Over here we have Booming Voice and we have Unbridled Wrath. So, if you want to support your group. Go with booming voice because it increases the area of effect, aka AOE, of all shouts by 60%, and the duration of your battle and demoralizing shout by 60%. In my humble opinion, it's good to have at least one warrior with this talent in raid. But if you want to maximize your DPS, you will put 5 out of 5 in Unbridled Wrath, which gives you a 75% chance to generate an additional rage point when you deal damage with melee weapon. The thing is, the effect is doubled for two-handed weapons. So yeah, Unbridled Wrath means more rage. More rage means more damage. Then we have improved shouts. You all know what this is. So yeah, just read what it does. Increases the melee attack power bonus of your battle shout by 25% and increases melee attack power reduction of your demoralizing shout. Now, improved shout and booming voice stacks perfectly. If you want to have one warrior with both of these talents for demoralizing shout, then by all means go for it. And in the end, we have Reckless Execute, which removes the cooldown of your execute ability by 100%. Your execute doesn't have cooldown now whatsoever. Just look how perfectly Precision Cut, Boundless Anger, and Reckless Execute stacks together. It's amazing, really. So, that's it when it comes to talents, guys. 34-17-0. If you have more questions about talents, why, what, how, please leave me a comment down below. I'll do my best to answer. Now let's move to rotation. The first rule of Warriors rotation, guys. It doesn't matter if you are Arms Warrior, Fury Warrior, Prot Warrior, Fury Prot Warrior. First global cooldown, Standard Armor. That's just a must. Alright, let's see. This is a single target rotation of Arms Warrior. Let's do this. Alright, charge into Berserker stance. Let's proc a Blood Rage. Now let's go for Mortal Strike into Slam, into Whirlwind, into one auto, into Heroic Strike, into Mortal Strike, into Slam, into one auto to get some rage point, into Mortal Strike, into Whirlwind, into auto, into Slam, into Mortal Strike, into Whirlwind, into Mortal Strike, and Slam. Alright. Let's repeat it once again. Okay, overpower procced. You see what happens. So let's get some rage over here. Overpower procced again. Boom. There we go. Mortal Strike. Okay, Slam into Whirlwind. Overpower procced again. Now, Mortal Strike into Auto, into Slam, into Whirlwind, into Mortal Strike, into Auto, into Slam, into Mortal Strike once again, into Overpower. Boom. There we go. Mortal Strike, into Slam, into Whirlwind, into Mortal Strike, into Auto. Don't ignore these auto attacks because they feed you rage, right? And without rage, there's nothing to do, really. Reapply, of course, Thunder Armor into Mortal Strike, into Slam, into Whirlwind, into Mortal Strike. Boom. Heroic Strike here and there. You can use it. Okay, Mortal Strike, Slam, into Whirlwind. Boom. Simple as that. There we go. Okay. Now, that's single target rotation, boss rotation. Of course, I forgot to mention when. Okay, so you have to calculate something, right? If your overall DPS in raid is very good, very good, you just might want to pop recklessness on 27, 28 up to 30% of boss's health state. If it's lower, you do it on 21, 22%. Just calculate it. Once the boss falls below 20%, it's time for recklessness, and only execute because of, what did we say? Precision cut, boundless anger, and reckless execute. That's it when it comes to single target. And this is your trash packs rotation. Remember, Arms PvE warriors, in my humble opinion, are best when it comes to AoE. For now. Like I said, like I mentioned on this at the beginning of this video, for now. Alright, so battle stance into charge, into sweeping strikes, into berserker stance, into blood rage, into mortal strike, into whirlwind, into auto, into cleave, into mortal strike, berserker rage can be on, into whirlwind, into auto, into mortal strike, into cleave, into whirlwind, into auto. Wait for that juicy mortal strike. Never mind. Sweeping strikes are on, into whirlwind, sweeping strikes into whirlwind, into mortal strike, and so on and so on. Into cleave, of course. Let's not forget cleave. But first of all, like I mentioned, Thunder Armor. Boom. And there you have it. That's your rotation when it comes to trash packs. When it comes to trash packs, Slam. You are not using Slam. You are not using Heroic Strike. You are using Mortal Strike. Why would you use Mortal Strike? Because of sweeping strikes. You are using Whirlwind and you are using Cleave. Simple as that, really, there is not much philosophy going on. Now let's talk about stats. Warrior is primarily interested in few stats. These stats are strength, crit, hit, armor penetration, and haste. Let's ignore health for now, because why would we need health as a DPS warriors? There's so many consumables, protection potions, Flask of the Titans, and whatnot to increase your health. But let's focus on strength, critical strike, agility, of course. armor penetration, and haste. Okay, so health, attack power, and crit are provided through base stats in form of stamina slash strength slash agility, while the others are found either in talents or in gear. In raid without Blessing of Kings, 1 stamina equals to 10 health, 1 strength is 2 attack power, and 20 agility equals to 1% crit. By the way, it's rare not to have Blessing of Kings in a raid, since most raids run at least few paladins for Blessing. So realistic values will be 1 stamina equals 11 health, 1 strength equals 2.2 attack power, 20 agility equals 1.1% crit. Strength, critical strike slash agility, hit, armor penetration, and haste. When it comes to add-ons, I made a special video about it, what kind of add-ons I am using, my UI, everything, literally everything that I use. I'll leave the link of all my add-ons, the video of all my add-ons over here at the top right corner. However, I would like to mention one add-on, which is Swing Timer. So, as a Fury Prot Warrior, I'm not really using Swing Timer, but you, as Arms PvE Warrior, you should use Swing Timer, because you want to track your auto attacks. If you don't do auto attacks, guys, you will go rage starving. So it's really important to do those auto attacks and track them. If that makes any sense. You don't want to go rage starving. Going rage starving means no damage at all. So download Swing Timer also. I'll leave the link of Swing Timer in the comments down below. And it's time to conclude this video with glancing blows, weapon skills, and all that kind of bullshit. What you see over here is a very simple spreadsheet. Don't get confused or intimidated over here. Let me clarify some things for you. Okay, so this is old system. This is classic World of Warcraft, other private servers, etc, etc. This over here is Turtle WoW. New system. Right. Let's assume that you're on 300 weapon skill. Glancing blow damage in old system remains the same. In new system, 65%. But what changed? You see, miss probability and hit cap, especially hit cap, is 9% in old system. In new system, it's 8%. Which means Turtle WoW, how can I express myself? Turtle WoW made it better. Turtle WoW made it much better. Let's assume that you have 305 weapon skill. What's gonna happen over here? In old system, you had, let's see, hit cap 6%. Glancing, increasing glancing damage over baseline old system 30.77%. Let's check the new system. Alright, so over here we have 15.38. And then we have 7% miss probability in new system. And then we have hit cap of 7%. Let's pretend that we are at 315 weapon skill, which is maximum. Okay, so glancing blow damage, old system, 95%. Glancing blow damage in percent, new system, 95%. Increase in glancing damage over baseline, 46.15%. Same in new system. Then we have miss probability and hit cap in old system, same as in new system, sorry. So that will be pretty much it. Now, over here we have increase in glancing damage over baseline, old system versus new system. As you can see, blue is old system, red is new system. Simple, isn't it? Okay, so let me see. Let's pretend that we are on 305. Increase in glancing damage over baseline, old system, 30.77%. Same thing over here. Let me just see where this dot is. 305. Let's see, 300. There it is. 305. Increase in glancing damage over baseline, new system, 15.38%. Just look how beautiful it is. Much better. Just look how much better it is in the new system, red line, than it is on classic WoW and other private servers. It's really simple, guys. It's really simple. So, for example, if you have, I have at the moment 312 weapon skill in swords. I need 5.6% hit. That's all. My miss probability is 5.6% also. My increase in glancing damage over baseline in new system is 36.92. And glancing blow damage in new system is 89%. And we have different digits over here in old system. Really simple. That's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for stopping by. I would really appreciate subscribe, comment down below, like, and all that kind of bullshit. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, cheers. That's all for this video, guys. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next one. Don't overthink too much. Yeah, that's this is the best advice I could give you in this video. Just don't overthink too much. Just play the game. Have fun. Cheers.